Hello everyone, my name's Walter and I'm back to bring you more stories from Reddit. Today we had the conclusion of a story I told about 3 weeks ago. I apologize for the delay. I will link to the first part in the description and definitely suggest you watch it, but the gist of this story is that this married woman made a new friend at work and eventually it turned out he was only interested in her romantically and never intended to be her friend in the first place. It ended with a dramatic love confession, of course. Anyway, there's some other stuff for me to read. It's not too action-packed, but hopefully it'll make you cringe. Let's begin with Nice Guy / Neckbeard story from Reddit Part 2. It'll say Courting Married Milady in the title, but probably not in the thumbnail. This story comes to us from Reddit Nice Guy Stories, a great place to leave your stories about nice guys, and maybe it'll even be read by me or another YouTuber. Nice Guy tries to steal me from my husband, Part 2. So this is a follow-up to a story I posted 2-ish weeks ago. I figured I had enough to say it deserved its own post. Feel free to skip to the TLDR to get the gist of the whole thing so far. Before I get into what happened today, I did find a new job. I know only one person asked, but it meant a lot, and I wanted to thank everyone for the upvotes. Here she links to Part 1. My video link again will be in the description, if I remember. After my coworker, Samurai, was sent home, he really didn't speak to me for a week. I got to enjoy several hours of awkward silence while we continued to work together. I heard through the grapevine that he was getting a new job, but they didn't know how soon he would be gone yet. Then I got called by a senior coworker harassing me about the new job I was no longer starting. Essentially to ask if it was true that I started at X company and had started last week without even giving a notice. Asking if I was going to work 2 jobs and how could I leave the residence on such short notice. I explained I was leaving but hadn't started a new job yet and had every intention of giving a full 2 weeks notice. She said Samurai told everyone I was leaving. She started trying to talk me out of leaving when I explained that even if I didn't want to leave before that, I no longer feel comfortable at work. She pressed me and I just said something inappropriate happened between me and Samurai and my husband no longer feels comfortable with me being there. I am only working here because I didn't want to leave on short notice. She offered to report him for assault on my behalf and told me that he was leaving anyway, and even if he weren't, it was more important that I keep working there. Which, while I thought they were a little too harsh, this wasn't the first issue they'd had with him. I don't think I should have involved our coworker and didn't mean to say as much as I did. At this point I needed to clear his name because she was convinced he had assaulted me and she has a legal obligation to report that kind of thing. We work with a disadvantaged community and predators are a huge issue. I said, he didn't assault me, he called me out of my house the other night and expressed feelings that I couldn't reciprocate and made me and my husband uncomfortable. She accepted that, she cried some and asked why he did that and what was he thinking. She really did a lot to make me feel guilty about leaving and offered to keep us separate till he left. Secretly, I had extended my notice to help during an understaffed period, but had already given notice. As much as I love the bulk of my job, I don't make enough to pay the bills, and the company has a lot of issues right now, so he was just bonus reason to go. It sounds stupid to let someone like that affect me, but being at work, especially with him still there, was suffocating and sad. I had this narrative in my head that this was super my fault, that I knew he didn't have much experience, and that despite how many times I had addressed the fact that this was a platonic relationship, I had been too friendly. In a way, we hurt each other, and part of me wanted to apologize. I was even planning to mail him the exact amount of money he spent that night, though my husband told me I wasn't allowed to do that. Not angry, just sad and uncomfortable because I had lost a friend and hurt someone. He wasn't a nice guy, just an idiot I had failed to protect by being too friendly. After all, he respected my no and was even giving me space. Nope. Right, so there's obviously 2 ways this could go, considering there's a part 2. He could turn out to be not as bad as the author thought, or he could turn out to be way worse. Well, get ready to see how he handled this. Today was his last day. It was a short and awkward goodbye, even though he had been there 2+ years. The residents were pretty casual about saying bye. Lasted 15 minutes. He checked for his things, said he might visit someday, and drove away. Usually long-term workers get a big goodbye with tears and often a little party. So, older coworker lady was chatting casually with me and my sister came up. This was after he left. Older coworker lady, you know he was asking about your sister the other day, if she still worked at Texas Roadhouse and if she looked like you. Me, what? Why didn't you say something sooner? That's beyond creepy. OCL, well I told him I didn't know. I kind of forgot about it since we were busy. Yeah, that is pretty creepy. My little sister is barely 17. I remind you that Samurai is 26. Never mind that it would still be creepy if she were older. Insert obligatory Chris Hansen reference here. Aside from that, which is a pretty big aside of course, I don't get these people who want to go after the younger sibling when things don't work out. It's like, okay, I give up, I'll just go after the 17-year-old that kind of looks like the girl I like and probably acts nothing like her. I mean, he mostly seemed to be interested in her because she had nerdy interests in the first place. Either he didn't care as much as he was acting, or he wanted to go after the little sister to spite her, which is even worse. Things get worse when I ask friendly black lady coworker, FBLC, if he'd asked her anything about my sister. FBLC, not since he asked if she was single. By the way, I heard you had a date with him? Me. A date? Is that what he called it? I remembered where I was and I dragged her to a back room and locked the door. I went on the longest rant about the entire story. Think original post, plus more insider information. She let me know that it really wasn't my fault and that she had doubts about his side of the story. I had apparently agreed to go on a date ahead of time, letting him take me to dinner and bowling on his dime, knowing full well I didn't like him back. I wasted his $40 and had savagely shot him down after he poured his heart out. And he needed some time away to get over me, so he wouldn't be in town for a while. What? 1, I was told he had something really important to talk about. I hadn't even agreed to eat out. 2, I only ate with him because he reminded me he owed me money and I felt comfortable enough in our friendship that I was like, whatever, what's a dinner? 3, he spent $18 on me. I got $8 of soup and tea and spent less than $10 on a single game of bowling. 4, I'm married. How much more unavailable can I be? What business did he have pouring his heart out? This guy's insane if he thinks anyone's going to be on his side over this $40. And that's if they didn't hear her side of the story. If you're trying to pour your heart out to someone's wife, you're just going to look like the bad guy. That's all there is to it. FBLC and at this point OCL were opening up about all the creepy stuff they had seen him do but kind of ignored. Like a time he appeared to be pulling up his pants in the room of a mute female resident, and said he was just adjusting when the resident was curled up in the corner. But they didn't feel like they could prove anything. She reacts to all stress the same way. If he had brushed her hair too roughly, she would have acted the same way. Or how when I lost my wedding ring a month ago, I mentioned I'd asked him to check for it while he was in. How he was the only one I told where I'd left it. I frequently took it off and hid it when I was cleaning bathrooms. That night, my stupid ass had finished cleaning 20 minutes after the end of my shift and rushed home without it. At the time, I didn't even consider he would have taken it. Yeah, this is so premeditated, he stole her wedding ring a month earlier. No proof, but it's the only thing that makes sense. Thank God it was about bedtime, because we got carried away and this conversation lasted more than an hour. Eventually it came out that FBLC already knew he liked me. I wish he would have said something, but I get wanting to stay a neutral party. Anyway, the day before he confessed his feelings, he had work and showed up with a haircut. She asked about it, and he said he cut his hair for me and asked if she thought I would like it. She was surprised to hear he liked me in that way and asked about my husband. I guess he explained that my husband really wasn't right for me and that I would be happier with him, especially now that he has a better job. He can really take care of me now. She mentioned that if he felt so strongly, he really should have said something before the wedding. He said I didn't open up enough before the wedding, but I have now and he is ready for me. He also said that he was going to confess his feelings and talk to me about ending my relationship properly because he had been cheated on before, and even though he wanted to be with me, he didn't want me to cheat on my husband. Oh, what a nice guy, am I right? I told her I wish she would have told me so we could have avoided that whole night. She apologized and we wrapped up the conversation. I called my sister on the way home. She actually had left that job recently, but I went ahead and gave her some details about the guy and told her not to hesitate to defend herself. He has guns and, as I mentioned before, is known for violent outbursts. I'm angrier than ever. At him and at myself for feeling bad for him for even a fraction of a second. The more I read our conversations, the more manipulated I feel. I don't have any friends and I just really need someone to talk to. Gag me with a fucking spoon. My stupid ass is going to toughen up from now on. I'm resisting the urge to send him aggressive letters or retaliate. He pulls this shit. He talks shit to our coworkers. He probably put it in the exit letter too. For fuck's sake, I'm gonna delete the convo. I've got finals next week and this is monopolizing all of my person. Not worth it. I'm gonna rant here, then go be my best self again. Thanks for reading. Well, she went over it. I don't really have to tell you that sometimes you have to use a strong hand with these kind of people. You'd think they'd know that if someone seems to be happily married that they're not someone to confess your love to, but I guess that's assuming too much. I think sometimes they put the fedora on a little tight and it takes control of their brain. Now, if he was assaulting defenseless residents, then obviously he's a predator and should be in prison. But yeah, I guess we can't really make that assumption. It could ruin someone's life whether they did it or not. I really hope that he wasn't doing that, and really hope that he's not still working that kind of job if he was. That's all I can really say. Okay, so instead of covering posts, there's another Neckbeard I thought should get a bit of a spotlight here. Here's where I should probably put the trigger warning, but my videos often include assault. I somehow missed this back in 2018. This sack of crap pushed drinks on a girl, who did happen to be his childhood friend, all night until she was too drunk to function, and then raped her repeatedly as she was unable to react before proposing to his girlfriend the next morning. None of the articles I read mentioned that the wedding was going to happen, but he got 8 years in prison, so that's probably at least not ideal. It's a better ending than Brock Turner got, at least. I'm glad this doesn't seem to come into consideration when I offer someone a drink. That's just kind of how I socialize, so I don't really like to see someone pulling something like this, but it probably happens all the time, right? And one last thing, I thought I'd explain what it means if I'm ever calling someone creepy and show a random picture of soup. I started out on my old channel, Walter Fate, reading incel posts, so a lot of my old references are to that. This is an old post from Reddit incels that was pretty funny. Yesterday I was out getting lunch that recently added gazpacho, a cold Spanish tomato soup, to their menu. I overheard 2 women ahead of me in line talking about the new gazpacho. One of the women asked the other what gazpacho is. The other woman says that it's like salsa that you drink. The first woman says that gazpacho is creepy. The second woman agreed. After that, I made sure to get some gazpacho with my lunch, because I was not going to let women ruin gazpacho, especially by calling gazpacho creepy. I have been saying for a long time that women calling men creepy is bullshit. However, this proves it. Women are willing to call traditional Spanish cuisine creepy, which is complete rubbish by itself. If a soup can be creepy, then any man being called creepy is meaningless. Yeah, that doesn't mean calling a man creepy is meaningless. Calling the soup creepy is the stupid part. Assuming this actually happened. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments if you'd like, but I'll probably start using gazpacho pictures again as a little inside joke. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to all my subscribers, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Otherwise, please like and comment. I hear the algorithm loves it. I did pick the dome fossil, by the way. I want to thank Q-Star one more time for appearing in my last video. It turned out pretty well if you want to go check that out. But now it's time to thank everyone still contributing to my Patreon. Don't worry, I'm about to make a bunch of content, I swear this time. Levon, Invader Jill, Chris Sturman, Spoofs McJenkins, Luis Orozco, Spoonie the Rogue, Amanda Gillies, Mary Vinorsky, Cody Brooks, Chocobo Asylum, Camper Supreme, Knit1 Code 2, Ryan Ortego, Roy, Lil Spoon, Ms. Mayhem, Sheridan Shadrack, Jubes, Donuts, Chocobo Valentine, Jack Pacey, Clint Bainter, and Esperova. Thank you all so much. I am not making much money yet, but I'll let you know when I am. Until then, this is invaluable, so feel free to contribute to my alcoholism if you enjoy my content. I do enjoy making videos, so I'll be trying to do more of it here. Thanks again, and have a great night, everyone.